Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We are positively into March, in like a lion, out like a lamb, in with a vaccine, out with a plan. Dennis Koulatsos joins us now from Coots Ford Security Boulevard. He'll be here on Thursday driving you home with the Sunday Sports Voice. It's now the Dennis Koulatsos Show, or D. Koulatsos Show, as found out on Twitter during this pre-free agency thing. We got spring training things happening here. But I'm plotting adventure here this summer, Dennis. How are you?
Same thing with you, Nestor. Like to get out, and I got my fishing rods out of the storage over the weekend and get the boat battery all charged up. So I'm planning on doing more of the same this year, more fishing, more time out in the water.
I've been talking to a lot of folks. We're doing a big thing this week with the Maryland Hospital Association about mental health and COVID and vaccines and hospitals and doctors and where we are. And we did it last year before down in Annapolis. Don and I went down before we had the mask and all that. And one of the things about mixing these conversations up and talking to all sorts of people about all sorts of things, my wife and I took a 6-mile walk on Wednesday of last week. And if you remember, it was like the first night, it almost hit about 60 degrees. And we walked through Patterson Park. I put that picture up of me in front of the Greektown sign in Patterson Park. Had some fun with that. I went and visited with my friend Brian Eater at the Chaucer. Had some delicious tots and some wings, and we walked back and whatnot. And I was thinking about you because, first of all, I passed Tochterman's on the way back. It was probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock. It was closed. I've been texting with Dee and Tony about fishing and stuff. And I started doing this thing on crab cakes and eating crab cakes. And I know your pal John was on the Today Show, and our friends at Fadley's and Costas and people eating crab cakes. And I think I'm about to do something with crab cakes where I want to go out and – because everybody brags on their crab cake and their thing. And you're a fisherman, and I remember taking the crab pots down on the Bear Creek, Wise Avenue, and pulling up crab pots with chicken necks. My wife and I saw folks crabbing down in North Carolina last year. So I want to commit to this year. I'm not committing to a lot, all right? And you've made a hell of a commitment to me and my family over the years. But I want to commit to one time this summer at some point doing one of these expeditions with you. We plan it, get the weather right, get the timing right. But I want to, go fishing with you. Dan Rodricks has taken me fishing before. So I want to fish once or twice or 3 times this summer. I want to learn to fly fish. I think I told you that about Montana. I definitely want to go crabbing with someone. Maybe Coach Billick, I don't know. But I want to I want to do some outdoor things that, and I'm not going to be disrespectful to the Angeloses or the Orioles, but that isn't a ball game this summer. It used to go to 30, 40, 60, 80 ball games a summer. This walking thing in the parks and trying some new neighborhood places and this crab cake adventure that I'm plotting, that could be Eastern Shore. It could be you and me in Cumberland. I've never been to Oakland. I've never been to Deep Creek Lake. You ever fish Deep Creek Lake? Is there such a thing, Dan?
I would like to. I'd like to go there twice. I'd like to go in the dead of winter with snow around and the ice, the lake being iced over. And I'd like to go in the summertime so I can fish it. So it's in my bucket, right, to go to Deep Creek Lake.
You've never been?
Never been. I'd like to go out there to Western Maryland and dodge some black bear out there while I'm out there on the lake trying to catch a pike or some bass.
I don't want to see bears. No. You ever seen a bear?
Only at the zoo. How about that? When I was a kid.
All right, so, because we story tell here. Dennis Koulatsos is here. This is what we do. So I went to Yellowstone 3 summers ago. You remember that? My wife and I went out to see Pearl Jam. And we went through Yellowstone quickly because, I'm warming up to this outdoor thing. She had looked up glamping, where you get like a 4 Seasons tent, like Oprah, out in the middle. So I surprised her, okay? I think I may have told this story a couple summers ago. Maybe – I don't think I've told it to you for sure. The week before we left, and we weren't – she wanted to see Yellowstone. I love seeing new things, right? So people ask me, anything bucket list, anything that's new, I probably at 52 want to try it unless I'm really adverse to it. I don't want to eat liver. I don't really like beets. Will I eat them? Yeah, I don't like radishes, but, there's things I know I don't like that maybe I'll endure. And then there's other things I just don't enjoy that. I don't want to do that. sleeping in the woods with mosquitoes, it's not the woods, it's not the floor, it's not even really the bears, it's certainly not the sounds or any fear of the boogeyman or the Bigfoot finding me in the woods. I don't like mosquitoes. So that's really my issue. That's my, if we could avoid the mosquito part of this. So if it's cold enough, I probably would like it more cold because there would be no bugs, right? So I'm anti-bug. I'm anti-snake, right? But so Yellowstone, we had an amazing adventure, right? Like we saw the most powerful forest fire I ever hoped to see. I mean, I saw a legitimate blowing out of control forest fire in the middle of Montana that stopped traffic. So I saw things, bald eagles that I had seen before. I had been to Montana, but we do this adventure and we go out, and the thing that really struck me was the beauty of Montana. And I think I told you this part, that going along these cavernous roads where these hills come down and there's streams, and in every single stream on every corner, there was a parked car and there was someone in waders with like fly fishing. And I think I told you this, and I know I told Dan Roderick this. Lefty Cray always like wanted to take me fly fishing. He would come in and, oh, come on, Nestor, I'll take you out there. We go fly fishing. That's a pretty good lefty too, by the way, because Lefty, I think, believes in North Carolina. And he would tell me about the world and fishing in the morning, and I didn't even know what a superstar he was. But I have never fly fished. I saw people fly fishing, and I said to my wife, I said, I want to do that. I want to learn to do that. I'm going to have the patience. I don't want to golf, Dan. You know what I mean? We've been through this. You and I've talked golfing. That's not something I'm going to do when I'm 65 golfing. Fly fishing, I might do that, and that might be the thing that gets me to Alaska or something, right? So this year, can we make some sort of commitment? Maybe you, me, Dan Roderick. I'll get some people together. Tony, you know what I mean? And we can do it as an educational thing, and I don't want to be flippant because I might not be able to figure it out, right? It's not easy to do. But I want to, like, learn a skill set like that, and I think my wife would like to do that. So I think that's one thing I could share with a bunch of people that has nothing to do with baseball or the Terps or the Raven, something that's legitimately educational for me. What do you think?
I think that sounds like a wonderful plan. Look, there's no place better to learn about things than the great outdoors, especially when you're surrounded by some great companies, some people of substance that have lived and seen some things through the years. And the fishing becomes secondary. You're just out there enjoying nature and whatnot and learning a new craft. But we have a trip scheduled in April and May from a local outfit to hit some local waters to go after some smallmouth bass. It's
Now,
really
what does that mean? I'm going to hit local waters. So what are you doing? Little boat, people? Where's the boat? What are you doing?
You get a fishing guide with his boat, and it's two of you, and you get on the boat, and he takes you to certain spots, certain rivers, and hands you a rod with certain lures and said cast over that way and
so
start
where do you
reeling
do
it in.
this? Like out of Annapolis or where?
Out of Annapolis, yes, out of Annapolis. You can hit the Susquehanna, you can hit the Potomac, you can go up and down the East Coast, depending on how much money you want to spend and the type of fish you're going after. So you can get with experts, with people who do this for a living, and they'll show you some techniques. And also, it's just a fun day to get out there, especially when you get out where you don't get out much and you're looking to get on fish right away and get some techniques out of it and land some fish and have some fun. Like the camaraderie aspect also, it's through the roof. You get good conversation, you get some lunch out of it. So it's a really, really good day on the water.
Better than golf?
Better than golf, yeah, absolutely. Golf is good, and I'm not knocking it. I played golf for a long, long time, but fishing is much more relaxing, right? So it's much more enjoyable, and even if you don't catch any fish, still
There's no pressure.
No pressure at all. No, so it's a good way to get out, enjoy Mother Nature. You see certain things. You'll see eagles. You'll see otters. You'll see
Do
all
you
kind of sea
sit or do
life.
you walk when you fish, right? Like you don't really like sitting in a boat as much as you like walking edges, right? That's the way you've explained it to me when you fish.
Yeah, but I get a little bass boat that I rent, and what happens is with that you can stand up. I mean, you're doing all kinds of things throughout the day. It's good for your balance, and you're being active in a boat in a small radius, but still, it's just a lot of fun to get out there and enjoy the great outdoors. Enjoy the trees, the breeze, the sun. It's a lot of fun, Nestor.
Dennis, I'm thinking about a beach. I'm thinking about doing nothing. You know what I mean? Like right now, at this point in the pandemic, what would sound delightful to me would be like 3 days, not a week. That would be too much for me right now. That would be too much exit. I can't do like a 2-week exit right now. I got work to do. I'm thinking things, dreaming things. But here's what I want to do. This is where I want to run this idea. Dennis Koulatsos is here, by the way. You find him on Thursday, find him on Sunday, find him at security at Coons Ford. And I know they got 2021s. We're getting up on 2022s here before, and these cars are going to drive themselves. But this crab cake idea I have is to go and explore places, and I guess where I could eat a crab cake, maybe fish, maybe meet some new people, maybe go to a farm, maybe find a vineyard, maybe see some Civil War history at Antietam, or, day trips that don't involve flying anywhere. And I'm waiting on the Ravens schedule in Vegas and Miami and all the other trips, and that's cool. But between now and then, knowing that, maybe I'll go to an Oriole game. I don't know, but I won't go to 2, right? And maybe I'll be able to go to Ocean City, or maybe we'll be able to go to Nag's Head or whatever. But I'm trying to figure out a handful of things that I've never done to use this time in life wisely. And the one thing that I want to do is go out and explore crab cakes, how people make them, how they get them, whether they're Maryland or not, because every crab cake I've ever eaten in my life tastes different. And when people ask me which one's the best one, I'm like, it depends on like how you like it and what you like, because they're all different. And that's why I want to explore crab cakes.
Yeah, if you want to start a local argument, just mention the phrase, "Who's got the best crab cakes?" You're going to get about 20 different answers. Some of
And they're all good
restaurants you've heard
answers.
of. They're great answers. In some places, some little gems, some little holes in the wall that none of us have ever heard of, right? So a great day trip also, Nestor, to circle back, is in Ocean City. Years ago, we did a trifecta. We did crabbing, clamming, and fishing. So you go into right there in the inlet. You don't get that far, and you catch flounder, and then you go check the crab pots, and you end the day by digging for clams, right, which is a lot of fun. And then, of course, you take clams home, you put them on the grill, watch them open up, and put your butter and lemon on them, and just take them down.
Garlic, you put a little garlic in there?
A little garlic in there, too. So it's a lot of fun. That's a nice, low energy, high fun type of a trip.
Well, for me, I want to get out and explore the state locally, day trips, a little bit more. And more than like when I was a kid, where like a day trip meant Hershey Park, right? Or a day trip meant King's Dominion, or fun at night. And I know you agree with this, means Merriweather, or Wolf Trap, or a concert, or Pier 6, or a ball game, or, those kinds of things. More of the street on feet on the street that they do in Towson, and more local festivals, and more things like in Patterson Park, and more things like the Greek festival they have in Highlandtown, where we go up and we enjoy the food, go into the church, grab some food. But the outdoor things that this year are probably going to be more meaningful for me. And I think last year was such a shock to the system, right? Like, we weren't ready for it. This is something like where I'm trying to plan a summer that's unlike any other summer, right? Where it's not the normal things I'm planning. And unlike last year, where we're all shell-shocked, my wife's getting her shot this week. I'm of full confidence here in the United States of America. I'm going to get my shot this spring at some point. And at some point, move freely or more freely into the summer and into the fall. And I want to maximize it in a different way, right? I've really enjoyed, my wife and I, we drove up to Harford County, and we walked Gunpowder one day. It wasn't a great weather day. I told the Howard County executive, Calvin Ball, went down to Centennial Park. Now, I've been telling my wife, I said, I hear Centennial Park's beautiful, beautiful. We finally did it. So, and I don't know that I want to do it again. I think I want to do something different, right? So I'm trying to put together a list of great ideas. Deep Creek Lake is the greatest example in the world, right? Dennis, you've been to Greece. You've been all over I've been all over the world, right? I've never been to Deep Creek Lake. I've been to Pittsburgh 100 times. I've never gone that way. I've never been to Cumberland, right? So these could be little things. And I know they have these incredible old trains. I've seen that. My wife and I have watched it on NPR. We've always been like, hey, why don't we take one of those day trains out in Cumberland, Frederick, and get on the train or whatever. And I'm like, all right, this is my year to go do all that stuff, I think.
Yeah, I feel like Howard County, not only can you walk around Lake Centennial, but also there's Wild Lake. There's also Lake Kitty It's right there by Whole Foods. You can go. I know that you and Jen love to eat some healthy food. You can go shopping there, but before or afterwards, you can take a lap or two around the lake. So there's a lot of beauty within driving distance of Baltimore City everywhere you go. Just got to open up your mind a little bit and do some research, and it's all right there for you.
Did you know there's a pond in Patterson Park?
I did not know that. I know there's a place they skate. Is that the same place that they skate
No, no,
when it
no, no,
ices
no,
over?
no. I'm gonna
Really? There's a
tumbo you. No, no, no,
pond.
no, no, no.
There's a
Hold on
pond
now.
in Patterson Park.
I've told this story a few times because my wife and I, the first thing we did during the pandemic last year, the first night we went out, it was a month into it or whatever. Everybody's freaked out, right? We walked over to Verde Pizza. It was delicious. It's right behind the Ukrainian, the temple, right?
Hmm.
The beautiful on Eastern Avenue, right? So we got a pizza and we took beer in plastic cups and we sat in Patterson Park and we tore at this pesto pistachio pizza. It was delicious, crazy, right? No red sauce. It was delicious. So I'm eating it, drinking beer out of a cup in the park, probably breaking the law. That's all right. Jack let me get away with it. Brandon's now running the place. So we're looking out, and there's dogs and kids and, a bunch of Latin guys kicking a soccer ball and playing ball and families, and people are out, masks, the whole deal. Beautiful night. Buds coming on the trees because it's April. And my wife looks over. She's like, hey, what's over there? What are those trees? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never been over there. I said, I know the pagoda, is over. So what I'm doing is I'm pointing west from the south side of the park down by the temple. We took a picture. I put it up. I said, I told my wife we'd have pizza in a castle, right? To be like Disney World, right? So we started walking, and when we got over there, Dennis, there's a beautiful, incredible, like sort of pond with beautiful ducks, lots and lots of birds in the trees, beautifully kept, not a speck of trash, lily pads with
Wow.
like things and probably mosquitoes at that point. And I said to my wife, it's getting dusky here. I'm going to get bit. Go back to mosquitoes. Hate mosquitoes. Scourge of mankind then. And we walked through and I'm like, wow. Lived here my whole life. I was 51 years old. I didn't even know there was a pond in Patterson Park. So when we walked, and I took that picture last week, we went past the park again, or past the pond again, into the park, and there were people and kids feeding the ducks. Dennis, you got to go to Patterson Park, man. This is what I'm telling you. I've been all over the world, right? And I just found out there's a pond in Patterson Park. So I think 2021 for me is to explore more local things that I've never explored. And I want to continue doing that. So these Howard County tips you're giving me on parks and these water expeditions you're on, enlighten me. And we'll talk some draft. We're going to talk about the Ravens and free agency. And by the way, Matt Judon, what do you make of Matt Judon?
Look, we'll have to wait and see what the market is for him, and if it was anything close to what it was for C.J. Mosley, I think he'll be gone. I think he'll take the money, and of course, we saw the back and forth with him on the writer. I don't make too much of that. Right now it's all noise, and I think he was mad because someone established a ceiling for him, whereas he thinks the ceiling might be closer to 18 to 20 million a year versus 16.5. I think that's why he got upset. But I'd be surprised to see him and Ngakoue back. Although Harbaugh does like Ngakoue a lot, and he'd like to extend him. But all this stuff, this free agency stuff, was fascinating, and we'll see what happens. But I can't see Matt Judon playing another game in a Ravens uniform.
Well, this is the time for pay, as Coach Billick would say, right? Not the time for play. And I had Joe Douglas on last week. Obviously, the Ravens are examining all of their options, and the Ravens are pretty good at this. And that's one of the reasons, quite frankly, I don't talk about it a lot anymore, Den. To be critical of them is to be ignorant, I think, to some degree, because they're up all night with access to information above and beyond anything we probably even conceive at this point to some degree on the front end of all of this at a time that's very, very difficult for tape, kids playing ball, colleges, all of that, COVID, the combine blowing away, all of this, that I look at them and say they're probably working harder than they've ever worked and looking at this in some sort of different way. But looking at the cap and knowing that 180 number and where they need to be and where they want to be, they didn't wake up yesterday thinking about life without Matt Judon, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And if they're going to have a chance to get into the playoffs again and play deep into the playoffs and compete for the Super Bowl, under Greg Roman's offense, and it's the same offense he had in San Francisco back in 2012 when the 49ers came within the 4 plays of defeating the Baltimore Ravens in that 2012 Super Bowl. The offense has to be better. They have to figure out a number 1 receiver, and the defense also has to be better. That defense back in 2012 that Jim Harbaugh had was a lot better than the current version of the Ravens. So they have their work cut out for them. And to your point, they're working very, very hard this offseason, trying to figure out who they can keep, who they can bring in, and hopefully they get lucky in the draft and some of their draft picks pan out. And some of the players that drafted last year also step up, make a big leap from year 1 to year 2. So all these things have to factor in for the Ravens to get better and have a chance for the Super Bowl this year.
All right, well, next week, I want to have you on. You're going to make the background, the Clue book depository behind you. You've gotten me working these fake backgrounds now, Dan. You know, I mean, I'm having fun with my sunrise and sunset pictures. I'm actually going to start taking them as background pictures, and I'm just going to take like some boring ones once in a while, and it's just going to be a boring, non-sunny day. I don't show the gloomy days where the raindrops are in front of the windows and everything's gray, but it'll be nothing but sunshine here. We are the land of Baltimore Positive. Dennis Koulatsos sells cars out of Coons Ford Security Boulevard. He also does some sports radio and other topicality here from 3 until 5 on Thursdays live. Then rebroadcast, of course, on Sunday mornings to get you ready for the former Sunday Sports Voice. How's biz out of Coons Ford, Dan?
Business is phenomenal. You know, we do a lot of repeat and referral business. It is Baltimore, and WNST advertising always drives traffic to our store. And the 2021 F-150, it's got a sleeper cab. You can actually sleep in the vehicle. It's phenomenal, redesigned. The Mach-E, the all-new Mach-E is selling like a hotcake. It's all electric.
So hold on. If I borrow the F-150 and I want to sleep in it in Cumberland,
you can do that, and you'll be glamping for sure because the interior is very luxurious. But that front seat, both front seats lay back completely flat. It's very comfortable. It's almost like being in your beautiful high-tech bed. You know what I mean? So it's a wonderful, wonderful feature. Also for husbands out there.
Don't give me ideas. I slept on the beach in Ocean City. Don't give me ideas, then. I was
It
poor.
works. It works. I'm telling you, it's a wonderful, wonderful feature. And of course, we also have the all-new Bronco, which is another wonderful vehicle. I got to start sending these vehicles down for you and Jen to examine and to test drive. That way you can do some reviews for me as the Ford product continues to impress and get better and better by the minute.
See, I'm weird like that because I don't like small cars, but I don't like big cars. So, you know what I mean? Like there's somewhere in between.
I got you.
That because of like driving in the city, right? Like space and park and garages and whatnot. So, but I don't feel good in really small cars. Like I'm not good with that. So I've done that in Europe, and it kind of weirds me out a little bit.
I got
you.
All
right. Well, you know, I'm going to get out. I'm going to visit with you. I think this fly fishing thing, I think the crab cake eating thing, I think the sleeping in the cabin thing, you're giving me ideas. It's spring. It's March. The time for ideas, big ideas, bold ideas, new ideas, Baltimore positive ideas. So I'm working on this, Dan. I'm going to get back to you next week. We'll have more on this, all right?
Thanks a lot, Nestor. Be well, stay well.
Fried or broiled?
Oh, gotta be broiled. You know, just
fried. See, okay.
The healthy part of me. I need at my age. I need broiled. I can't have fried foods anymore.
Enjoy yourself. Come on, man. You know, to do a couple more minutes on the bike.
Exercise.
Dennis Koulatsos is here. He'll be here on Thursday. He'll be here on Sunday, and of course, you can find him out on Twitter at the Koulatsos Show. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking. Baltimore positive.